Something that comes up a lot when I'm talking to people or people are emailing me is why I built the tiny house. So I'm going to tell you my story and then hopefully somehow give you enough information and reasons to want to build your own. Initially, why I wanted to build a tiny house was because I saw how much room and board was at my sister's college, which is like $15,000, and I thought, well, wouldn't it be a better use of money if I were to build a house for less than that and bring it with me to college and park it somewhere on someone's backyard, or maybe the campus would allow me to park it on their property. Before I really started building it, I knew sometime down the road I would want to build one, but I just never realized it was going to happen this fast. I kind of imagined after maybe midway through college I would build a tiny house, or maybe after college, but once the opportunity came up and I was able to take advantage of the fact that I was in high school and I did have to create a senior project, and I was really passionate about this at the time, and I already felt like I had a platform to share this whole process with the world and whoever wants to see it. So besides having that reason to really actually start the project soon, or sooner than I was imagining, the reasons that I wanted a tiny house was really just to have, first of all, freedom. The freedom to go on more experiences than, say, take care of a house, or even just filling up a house with things. I really don't like having many things. I think the more things I have, the more I'm weighed down, and the more I have to take care of those things and keep them healthy, sort of. So I feel like a tiny house is perfect for that, because I literally can't buy a lot of things. I could have so many more things than I have now, but I haven't built shelving for the future things that I am planning on getting, which just makes it seem like I have so many more things than I actually do. And of course there are other things, like your electricity bill will be so cheap. I pretty much just run one light and I have outlets. That's pretty much it right now. I do plan in the future to run a blender and an induction stovetop and a chest freezer. And I'm hoping to run that all off of solar, so I need a lot of solar, which I don't have yet. I would say one of the biggest reasons that you should build a tiny house is heat. If you live in a cold climate, heating your house can be so expensive during the winter time. I think the average person spends between maybe $1,000 and like $4,000 on their heating bill. Obviously it depends on the size of their house and how hot they like it, how long they heat for. Maybe people turn their heat down in March or something. But in general it sort of ranges from $1,000 to $4,000 from what I've looked up myself. Maybe you experience something different, but that's what I've seen. And I have a wood stove, and right now I've just been using the leftover scrap wood from building my house and my brother building his house, and just a bunch of apple wood that we cut down this summer that my brother has chopped up, and I've got a bunch of kindling. So that'll last me probably until maybe January. So then either I'll have to buy some wood, which I think a cord around here is about $200, and I think I'd probably only need half a cord. Though it seems like way too much as it is, but we'll see. And the stove itself only cost $250, which is really good for a small stove. So basically the heating unit, which I didn't even count in a bigger house, was $250, and say I spend about another $150 on just wood, and that's $400 for all of winter. And I mean, it's so much more efficient, and you're heating such a small space that obviously you need less wood to heat it. So if you're gonna heat wood in a regular house, I have no sense of how much wood you would need. And like I said before, probably the biggest reason I wanted to build a tiny house was the freedom that it provided, as well as the security of actually having a home. I mean, I'm not that I would be right now. I would be living with my parents right now, but I'm not throwing money away renting a house. This house costs just under $12,000. So say you are spending right now $1,000 in rent. If you go and live with someone else and they don't make you pay anything, you could, in 1 year, you could build a house just like this for even less. I mean, some of the things that I purchased, specifically the paneling, was not, it was just, I wanted it to be really light, so it was more expensive. But you could do the same thing and it wouldn't take that long, and they're not so affordable. But if you can figure out a way to save up that money, it's so awesome to have your own space. I know a lot of people have trouble really imagining all their stuff in a tiny house, and I think if you actually go inside of one, it feels a lot bigger than it sounds when someone describes it to you. I know I've only heard of people saying that my house looks so much bigger than it actually is, and that's because of the high ceiling. I honestly can't think of a good reason why not to. To me, it seems so obvious. If anyone is in a similar situation that I am in, it makes so much sense. So much sense. And as I say in almost every video that I talk about my tiny house, I learned everything from YouTube. So that is all there for you to learn how to build one as well. I had no building experience before this. I had obviously no plumbing. The electrical, I got help from my sister, so it's possible. As long as you really, really want it and aren't going to get discouraged if it takes maybe a little bit longer than you wanted it to, or something's a little bit harder or more difficult than you imagined. It just takes some determination and a little bit of drive to actually want to own your own house. Who knows if that was actually helpful at all, but I figured I'd make this video anyway just because why not? And I will see you guys in another video very soon.